Bizonai. Pro mūsų langus pralėkė 100 bizonų. Tu sėdėjai ant sofos ir gėrei arbatą. Pro mūsų langus pralėkė 100 bizonų. Užsikloję miegojome 1000 metų. I'm Gabriele Labanauskaitė. I'm from Lithuania, working as a playwright, poet. I don't know if you can say working as a poet, but still I'm a poet, playwright, writing as well for opera, and starting to write a novel and finishing it while being here in Iowa City. I guess the best is this romantic side, how everyone imagines the writer, like doing almost nothing, drinking coffee in the morning, wine in the evening, and just having a lot of bohemian chats. But the reality, as we know, is hardworking, and if you want to be a good writer, you need to write a lot, to read a lot, and of course, to explore the feel of writing in general, like spending time with the writers, attending events, etc., etc. So I like this romantic side. I like that most of the people don't understand what the writers do in general, but they see the written book, they see the result, they hear some poetry, and they enjoy it or not. So, as everywhere, I guess, it's hard to make living from writing in Lithuania, but as well it depends what kind of writing you're doing. It's hard to make living being a poet, but it's quite all right being a playwright or writing librettos for opera, because it's something which is going on stage, you know, and getting paid for. I think that we are still in transition, which I would call transition from image of freedom, being free in a way and learning how to be free. Also, it's a transition from communism to capitalism, which is painful for most of the people. Just some people adapted to it, and for all the generations, still difficult. So I think that's also the period where we can reflect our traumas and reflect what we experienced during being occupied by Soviet Union. And still, most of the writers somehow don't reflect on that period. Maybe it's too close, maybe it's too painful, but I think that it's something we should talk about, because I was lucky in a way, if you can say so, that I've been born at the ending of Soviet Union when the regime was not so strict anymore. And also I can experience this freedom period and when you can travel everywhere. So I think that not even as for a writer, but also for a human being, it's a very diverse and rich experience. My official education background is Lithuanian philology and Finnish language for bachelor. So a lot of years I spent learning languages in general, like Finnish, Greek, etc., etc. Then it was the period of literature. I studied literature for a master degree. And then it was a period of theater. My PhD is researching, my PhD thesis is researching narrative construction in contemporary drama. So it's everything, language, literature, and theater. But my not official background started from my childhood, because my grandmother is a literature professor. So I was watching her all the time, you know, like how she's writing books, how she's preparing for the lectures, how students come inside the house, how do they communicate. So that's why I think I have chosen this double way of writer and also professor teaching at Lithuanian Music and Theatre Academy. It's a good question. It's always a big discussion if art for art's sake is enough or it should be something bigger. I do personally believe that it's important to express social message as well. And as a writer, I'm concerned a lot about the people who don't get attention or proper, respectful attention in Lithuania. Let's say like people of LGBT community, people who emigrated to Lithuania, people which are somehow out of the normal everyday life. So that's what gets my attention, and I think it's important to talk about the things which are somehow forbidden or just mooted, you know, not tolerated in everyday life. So in that sense, I think that yes, it's good to have social meaning, message or purpose, but of course it's up to every one writer. And talking about COVID, I think that it just increased the meaning of literature, because so many people locked at home started reading books again, or the ones who were reading it started to read more. So the books became even more important. I think, of course, states should support the literature, because, you know, as we have this old joke that the best artist is hungry artist. I think it's very old-fashioned, and I understand that there is no need to serve propaganda or, you know, to dance according some ordered music, like somebody pays money and then you write something accordingly to it. No, I disagree with that. But I think that it should be scholarships, grants, possibilities to have residences, just normal, not consequences, just normal possibility to have these writing moments, you know, not to just overwork 24 hours, then you have not time for writing. So some writers manage to do both, but for a lot of writers, I think it's important, for me personally as well, to have this possibility to feel as an artist, to have my own time just for writing. And also this grants, residency possibilities from the government side supports the artists not only in financial way, but also motivating, you know, them to write, feeling important, respected. And I think that's very good. I think that Audre Lorde's book, The Silence Won't Protect You, or Your Silence Won't Protect You, sorry, I don't remember it exactly in English, was the book who really recently shaped my world. And also connecting to the question about like the social message, or, you know, what art could speak about. I think this is also important, not to be silent, because the writing is also one of the possibilities to talk about important things and to express it. So in my case, it was like also talking about LGBT issues, you know, that, or talking about something what people consider to be shameful. So if you just hide it, or you don't express it, or you don't share it with other people, it doesn't mean that you will be safer, that you will be protected. Maybe it's the opposite. If you share all the issues, problems you have, or your community has, maybe it will find reflections, and it will mirror some other people's situation, and it will help go out of it, you know. Oh, it was a lot of things on my desktop. I mean, I wrote a short play for pandemia topic while being here. Thanks to IWP task, I was editing my plays, writing about everyday life here, and finishing my novel. So it was a lot of going on, and sometimes some poems popped out. Yeah, and what surprised me, yeah, it was a lot of things, but I think I love sports, but yeah, it surprised me that a lot of people are doing so active sports life, everyday life, that they live such a healthy, good life. And it's nice, it's funny, just it's a contrast for, you know, the writers who are like smoking a little bit, drinking a little bit. I do sports, as I said, but still, like, it's a very tidy fairy tale life, seemed to me at the first weeks. And I thought, it can't be true, people don't live like that, you know, like I'm sitting on the bench and smoking and somebody is running by. And then I realized people do live like this, and it's all right, you know. I think I join more this kind of lifestyle. Yeah, and also talking about writers, I was surprised that writers are walking so slow, you know, and not so many of them are willing to do sports, but they do a lot of writing, which is good.